Welcome to our Weber County Board of Commissioner work session. Today is Monday, the 18th of November. We're glad to have you here. This is a public meeting, not a public hearing, so no public comments will be taken. The first action item is for approval of the minutes of the commission work session that was held on November the 4th, 2 weeks ago, 2024. Any corrections to that, or I'll entertain a motion?
Motion to approve those minutes.
We have a motion or a second. Place that motion for vote. All in favor?
Aye.
The motion carries. Thank you. Item number 2 is a closed session to discuss the character or competence of an individual. I'll entertain a motion to leave our work session to go to a closed session.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner, take place that for vote. Commissioner Bolos,
Aye.
Commissioner Faur,
Aye.
the chair votes aye. We'll now go into a closed session. We just left the closed session to go back into the work session, but now we're gonna go to item number 3, which is the closed session to discuss the purchase, exchange, or lease of real property. So I'll entertain a motion to, for a different purpose, to go into closed session for that.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, wait, Commissioner Bolos,
Aye.
Commissioner Faur,
Aye.
Chair votes aye, we'll go into closed session again. Now, Chris, back into the work session now. Here we go. I'd like to give it enough hang time so you can adjust and catch it, no problem. That's why Cortland and I don't ding it like, you know.
That's why
Gary Meyer,
How we doing?
Kylie Slater,
Good.
Rob White, wonderful. Rob, you in trouble or you got the fuzz with you today or what?
Well, half the week. I got
No comment or
everything.
He's coming, yeah.
Every project we have, and so I probably.
Just
owe you
anywhere
some
in
emails,
favor.
calls about it. These are the hot seats right here. Yeah.
Well, here we go.
It's just the stupid people.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah. No, I haven't heard word from you. If I was the one.
How's it going?
Good, you.
Good.
Sorry, I'm gonna spread a lot. You know me.
Mark? So,
Are you gonna reach, will you reach out to them, Cortland? Out of my main account?
where's Kylie go? Oh, there he is. I'm looking across, I'm thinking,
Tim got a Diet Coke, man.
This was just a free set.
all right, this is a discussion regarding truck restrictions. Use in Ogden Canyon and North Ogden Divide. Presenters Gary Meyer, Sean Wilkinson, Bill Ross, Chris Crockett, Cortland Erickson, Scratch Crockett, Mark Horton, Kylie Slater, Rob White from UDOT, and Joe Hadley, which is Mr. Clontz.
I think Joe's
Welcome.
coming.
Okay,
Told me once.
all right, great. Super. Well, we're gonna get underway. Gary, I'm gonna have you lead.
For sure. And commissioners, this is, this meeting was created at the request of UDOT. Rob reached out to me and brought this up. And as you're aware, there's been some events in the canyon, Ogden Canyon this summer that have sadly turned into some pretty unfortunate circumstances. And so it's caused UDOT to take a look at the design, the geometrics of the road going up Ogden Canyon. They're looking at different options they have. Some of those options would probably have repercussions that would be reflected onto Weaver County's road. And is that enough introduction, Rob? Do you want to?
Probably enough introduction to
Yeah, I'll
get
let-
started in the discussion.
Yeah, and Rob asked to kind of get this put together as kind of a work session to talk about and discuss.
And at this point, the decisions are still being talked about. We had a public open house, what's it been, 4 weeks ago? Up in Huntsville, got feedback from residents in the canyon, feedback from those that live up there. And it was interesting. There wasn't a common, yes, restrict trucks. A lot of people did want that option. I think some people were a little nervous about that. Is that gonna increase costs for us that live up in the Upper Valley? Those types of things were some things we heard. The one thing I would like to point out, and we showed this at the public meeting, but there are several locations in the canyon where trucks of a certain size are not able to negotiate those curves without swinging out into the other lane. That's really what got our attention focused on this particular issue and looking at, restricting that size of truck. So that's one of the reasons we're.
Rob, you're not here proposing tunneling through the mountains, so we have a closed area. It's,
No, but that is actually, interestingly enough, is one thing we're looking at and getting some costs on what it would take to see if we couldn't flatten out a few of those curves in some of these places that I've talked about where they have trouble negotiating those curves. My guess is it's gonna come in pretty astronomically high and cause other impacts in the canyon. And but I want a number. It's like, what is it gonna take to make this happen before I'm not saying we're going to do that. I'm just saying we're getting some more data gathered to be able to make this decision.
Jared, when you're hauling big stuff up over, you go up, hi Joe, welcome. Do you guys go up the Ogden Canyon or do you go over the divide, or depends on the time of year?
Depends on the width. We take our track roads, the divide or Trappers Loop, because they're too wide for the restrictions now, so.
So you don't go up the Ogden
We haven't
Canyon?
for a long time. Unless it's a emergency type of thing.
Is a cement truck considered too wide, or will it negotiate, is it?
I think for the most part, concrete trucks, ready mix trucks will be fine in the canyon.
But you're talking about tractor and trailer that are exceptionally wide.
Or long.
Or long.
Longer.
It's really the length.
Yeah.
There are width restrictions out there because those lanes are typically, in several places are 11-foot lanes. They're not our standard 12-foot lanes. And so there are width restrictions up there. But it's mostly just the length, and that would include all vehicles, not only tractor trailers, but it would include anything, whether it be an RV, pulling a boat, or anything over about 52
Total length,
total length. Yes.
What's a school bus? No,
45.
45?
School bus, we ran that template and that will fit, can stay within the lanes.
Kylie, Mark? or
So I was talking to him before we came in, the problem with the boats, those big boats, they'll run the risk of going through the canyon, even though they're not supposed to because of the surge brakes on the trailers. So surge brakes, when you come down Trapper's Loop, they don't have the option to turn them off.
Yeah.
Or the divide, and so by the time they get down to Trappers or the bottom of the divide, their brakes are burned up. And so they'll take Ogden Canyon, even though they know the risk that they're not supposed to be in there. If the trailer has electric brakes or air brakes, they have the options to control them. I've gone up to Bear Lake and they come down Logan Canyon, going into Garden City and hit the boat ramp, and you'll see the brakes just sizzle. And so if they come over Trappers Loop with the large boats, they're risking no brakes. That's typically boats only.
Would those boats be over the 50 something?
Usually not.
No, but they're over the width.
They're over the width, okay, so they have a width.
Oh, yeah.
Gotcha.
And they run,
Usually they're-
they run a surge brake because they're in and out of water, right?
Yeah, because of water, they hold up better. The electric brakes don't do well in the water, and since they're always in and out of water, they'll go with the surge brakes. Surge brakes work great in Ohio. Not so much. Yeah.
But,
Interesting.
so one of the main reasons I wanted to bring this to the county is North Ogden Divide, and what does that do? I mean, in a lot of ways, North Ogden Divide has has different challenges, but it's a similar result, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, is it's not exactly a great truck route. We've had some discussions that going up over that empty is not too bad, but I don't know how we would go over there loaded. I'm not sure of your geometry. I've driven it a handful of times. I don't drive it very often. And that's why I wanted to have the discussion with Weaver County and get your thoughts on what that's gonna do to the county road.
So the road's always been a challenge for us for a lot of reasons. There's a lot of areas that are steeper than what we would like.
On both sides, right?
On both sides, and you know, generally you try to shoot for 10% or less. We have a few different spots that are steeper than that. We have quite a few corners that are not gonna meet the requirements, the turning radius that AASHTO would like to see, especially for some of these larger vehicles and Rod, that's not to say that the use is not already happening. It doesn't take long being on the divide for any amount of time through the summertime to realize how much heavy truck traffic that actually sees. And we're talking full-on transports, dump trucks pulling transports, you know, anything you can imagine. And so these are heavy loads that, you know, heaven forbid, should a brake go out or something, I hate to think of what the recourse would be, because if I'm being blunt, not being able to make a corner on the divide road is probably as bad or worse than not being able to make a corner in Ogden Canyon. But I hate to consider that option, right? If that makes any sense, but we would see an increase. We would probably see some deterioration that maybe we aren't currently seeing in it. Don't kid yourself, we see a lot of deterioration in that road, as you can imagine, but it would probably increase that, I guess, would be our biggest initial concern on that. I don't know. Is there anything else I didn't consider on that, Joe? Joe and Jared, quite frankly, do an incredible job with maintaining the divide with a very skinny budget. And they're able to do amazing things with it, with what they do. But yeah, if we see a lot of increased traffic, any thoughts on that, gentlemen? What possibly could happen?
It's used a lot more than you think with heavy traffic. They're not just running a light these days. Trucks are more powerful and they use it a lot, but. Same thing, the length. Length is a trouble thing on a couple corners up there. You can see it on the shoulder when it's gone because
So we got on the shoulder.
Some
Exactly.
of the worst blockages we've had in the winter are phone calls about semis trying to go over it and couldn't make it and they're jackknifed. We asked the guys, why did you go this way? He said it was the shortest. GPS told him to go
GPS sent them
that
that
way.
way, yeah.
But it's a wreck when they can't make it and then they get jackknifed and everything's closed. So
The other problem with the divide is you have the bridge right there needing this weight restricted.
Yeah.
So,
And that's in the process. Construction on that'll begin next year, right, over the North Fork, but
He's talking the other one over there.
Chambers.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was
yeah, I
thinking,
think it's a 16-ton limit,
yeah, you're right, absolutely, Mark,
and so that's. Would have to be addressed.
yeah. And that's better than the one, if you take the divide and could just continue east, that one's down to like 7 ton,
Yeah. Yeah, it's
so.
worse.
So, yeah. That is the other issue is if anything of significant weight comes over the bridge over the North Fork, it takes them down 162 is in not great shape.
Well, our preference in any type of information that we put out to the public, our thoughts were have them go over trappers.
Yeah, I think so.
The challenge with that is it's a lot of extra cost.
It is.
And also it's also not, it's pretty steep, but
It
I
is.
think trucks need to understand, drivers need to understand that you're in a mountain environment, no matter which way you go. It's not going to be nice and flat and you've got to plan for that. And,
Absolutely.
anyway, that's just, and I just wanted to have the discussion about it. And I don't know if there's anything else you want to go through and think about and get back with me or any official response or
What are you looking at as restrictions?
roughly 52-ish feet, longer than 52 feet.
So normal semis,
Normal trailer should fit in
53.
as 50. I think would be the limit was 52, 53.
So a standard semi. would-
Standard semi would still fit,
Okay.
but it's
So it's
longer
just-
than that,
So it's just overweight, overload, over width.
over length. And this would be, the change here would be specifically the length.
So what's the chances of UDOT putting a runway truck ramp on trappers?
We've actually had some discussions about that and did some preliminary design at the bottom where that
Yeah.
farmer's field is on the east side there.
They've been out there before.
Yeah, I think they've used it de facto, just kind of gone out there, but yeah, we talked about doing that and that may be something we can put on the list to do. We had the one a couple years ago that went into the reservoir that ended up.
We've had 3 or 4 go into the reservoir over the
Oh,
years.
really?
One, yeah, the lady, she died coming down,
Yeah.
the one last summer, and I think there's been 2 others.
Okay,
Just coming down off the divide, off the trappers and then just straight on
losing your
through.
brakes and going straight through.
the dam.
Yeah, the one 2 summers ago, or it was the exact same as the female, quite a few years earlier.
Well, he went in and his load ended up on top of him and he couldn't get out.
Mhm.
Yeah, they had a female one time, she ended up down there, she died when she got impaled by a tree.
And we've had, in the last 3 years, I want to say there's been 2 or 3 off the trappers.
That went into the reservoir.
There's
been 3.
Or at least went off trappers, yeah.
So, and when as far as from the enforcement perspective, I mean, it's. The divide and Ogden Canyon are both 4.5 miles, right, long. And so as we've talked to the residents, from the sheriff's office perspective. You get a 53-foot truck that starts going eastbound We can get them maybe stopped at the Smoky, the Bear, but the road, the shoulder isn't wide enough to stop.
Right.
So we're either at Alaskan Inn or the Oaks. But by that time, you're 3 miles into a 4.5 mile road. And so it doesn't make sense to stop them. So I mean, you're chasing one violator 4 miles before you get them stopped, right? So in a nutshell, both roads have their challenges when it comes to enforcement. And, you know, maybe some other routes, I don't know what UDOT has connection to, like the Google Maps or Apple Maps, but
We've tried to work with them in the past and they're, I'll just say this kind of tongue in cheek, they're harder to work with than UDOT, so. That's hard to believe.
but that's one of, I mean, if we could do that, right? But there's nothing that you go into the app and say, it doesn't ask you what kind of truck you're driving, right?
No.
Or car or motorcycle or any of that.
Well,
So,
we've had the same thing down in Salt Lake area with the Cottonwood Canyons. We'll have trucks try and make guardsmen in an 18-wheeler, and of course, they just can't make it. They'll get stuck up there and then we've got to haul them out of there.
Yeah.
We've tried to work with them on that and with limited success, so we did it with signing. And in any restriction that we do here will be a lot of signing, not just at the mouth of the canyon, but we look at other locations where we need to warn trucks. Maybe on Harrison, maybe on Wall, Washington, I don't know, we're gonna have to put together a plan to get people to, the truck drivers to reroute. And we would not encourage them to go over the divide either. That doesn't mean that that's not gonna happen, but would be our intent would be to
Yeah.
get them going around 84 on Trappers and back down into the valley.
yeah, I mean, I followed a dump truck. I don't think he was probably loaded, but we had a car pass. He was doing 25, speed limit was 30. Up over the divide the other morning and this guy decided to pass on the divide, pass a semi going uphill. But it took me to it happened just before the top and I didn't get him stopped till 300 east. So, I mean, people are just in a hurry to go nowhere.
Well, and I think it's the events that caused the 2 fatalities, well, actually 3 fatalities total. Trucks were not necessarily the issue there. All of the what caused those were caused by vehicles that we have no intention currently of limiting in the canyon.
And laws were already violated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what people don't understand.
Well, and so our thoughts are, you know, what can we do working together with UDOT and the sheriff's office to, you know, we're talking about feedback signs, they'll work to an extent. We're talking about additional signing, we talked about speed limit, talking about trying to straighten out these curves, the challenges. There's challenges to all of them, and what we heard loud and clear from folks we heard from was enforcement was a common in all of the comments that we got back from the public. I understand the challenges in that canyon of pulling people over.
We didn't know about the open house for the hell.
Yeah, that was on me. That was on me. We invited highway patrol, but we didn't invite you guys, and so that was on us.
No, it's good. I mean, they're our primary responsibility for enforcing, but yeah.
I think it's your roll it out. Maybe we can give it to troopers and get some overtime approved for heavy weekends or something and kind of get the message out that way.
But I think I'd like to sit down with sheriffs and maybe with UHP and just have a discussion on other ideas you guys have. I'd love to hear that. Right now, we're in the idea gathering phase, public input phase. We're, you know, we think we're headed towards restricting trucks, but that's not yet a done deal, and we're willing to kind of modify that or change that based on what we hear from you guys and
I think if it does go that route, I mean. A lot of your reefer semis are 53 foot now, right? So would it be total width or total length
total
at 53? So your box trailer's 53 right off the get-go. It doesn't include the tractor. Right?
Yeah,
So you're gonna have a lot of trucks that, you know, that are traveling, the fuel trucks, and I don't know what uses and what doesn't, but yeah.
Have you done like a traffic study? How many trucks over 53 feet use it a day?
we haven't done that detail of a traffic study. I've driven that canyon probably 20 or 30 times since fatalities in July, just to kind of take a look at, see and there are, what we see a lot of is side dumps. There's a lot of side dumps that use that. I don't see a lot of reefers, trailer semis that head up that, at least I haven't in my, it's not scientific by any means, it's just what I've observed going.
Where are they going, the reefers and the sides? Are they going up the trappers or are they going up the Ogden?
I don't know.
They would, I mean, really a reefer would be going to Valley Market.
Yeah.
Or,
Maybe Snow
Maverick,
Basin or
Snow
maybe,
Basin.
maybe Powder, maybe, yeah.
So those would all go up over trappers then. So, I think you've got a treasure trove here if you get with the guys in patrol. And Gage, though, you've been going up there for, holy mackerel, you've been going up there, was a dirt road when you started, wasn't it?
Yeah, we had a one lane and it was plenty. So, yeah, I mean, we know what the problem is. It's right there in the Narrows. We know there's that one bad spot. I've talked to plenty of truckers. This isn't a new issue. Back when Carlos reported to me from running in the legislature a number of years back, I asked him to do a study, because it was still happening back there. We looked at some studies about, okay, how do we cantilever over the river? Do we take out a couple of sections? Back then, it was like $30 million for a mile. It's probably triple that now. So financially, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But when that accident happened, I asked the sheriff, how many accidents actually happen involving commercial or trucks? Out of the 150 or so accidents been reported in the past couple of years, only three involved trucks, commercial trucks. The rest were all, so, I talked to the truckers, the answer to the problem is make the vehicle traffic go over trappers or go over the divide, let the commercial go up the canyon. So that's the answer to your problem. Now, will that make people happy? No. The other potential is you gotta look at a potential stoplight before the Narrows. We've gone through stoplights up there when there's been construction. If you did a stoplight, you take out that issue, cheaper than $90 million. Now, does that make people happy? No, but this is not a problem you're gonna solve overnight. Now, the other thing you need to talk to Carlos about, let's have the state take over North Ogden Divide. We'll deed that to you.
It's free.
For free.
It's a gift.
It's a good deal.
And it's just been, the thing is it's just been professionally
Yeah.
resurfaced.
Yeah, it's in great shape.
It's been for years.
Traffic lights.
No,
not bad.
no need to thank us.
We've got some roads to trade, but, I'm
So
not sure.
you're not saying no, is that what you're?
Saying there's a chance.
Hey, we got, always got new roads they can take on.
Yeah, well, in a lot of ways though, all joking aside, if you look at it, is that a road that could be improved easier and cheaper than Ogden Canyon?
Well, there's another idea.
What about that tunnel that Commissioner Harvey keeps?
It
talking about?
amazes me, and I'm not gonna get off that, because if anybody here that goes to Europe, anywhere that in the mountains, there's tunnels everywhere, and I'm thinking, how come they can do it everywhere, and we have I don't know where there's a tunnel around
Provo
here.
Canyon,
Provo Canyon.
it's a short one.
I know it's stupid, but the old road used to be on the other side in the Narrows. Why can't you run one lane down that side and one lane up the other side?
It's through a neighborhood now, wouldn't it? They'd go
Yeah,
through.
it's through a
Yeah.
neighborhood.
Couple bridges.
What are you talking about?
Anyway,
I wish there was a way to do the technology more and more now. I wouldn't have to snow plow it or a lot of water in there. We could mitigate that, put it right into the river.
Well, and we're not gonna solve this today, but I think if there's some take homes, it sounds like if you guys could get some kind of any comment you'd like back to us officially on paper,
Sure.
and then if I'd like to meet with maybe the sheriff's office and talk about enforcement a little bit and see what we can.
If you'd meet with them, Bill, if you and your department would take the lead with Gary, the rest of them, since you guys, you and Sean,
for sure.
take the lead, and get back to Rob on that, that'd be good.
Happy to do
You
it.
good with that, Commissioner Bowles?
Yep, That's great.
Yeah. You do have a pressure, these guys have been around here for a long time and they all the time. And the thing is though, too, is with all due respect, when it comes time to responding, these are the guys that are gonna. They're usually first on the scene, aren't you? Almost always.
You're trying to be second. One day we'll make it.
Yeah, so, Bob, I appreciate you taking this
Thanks for the input.
care and for the rest of you in the room, you know, Rob's been a phenomenal ally and. Oh, yeah, he's for us. He's been the best guy at that region one we've had in a long, long time. We really appreciate you being there. You've been great for us. Thank you so much.
Thanks for being a partner on this, and I know that it's not just one person or one group that does it, it's communication and collaboration, so. That's why I'm
Yeah.
here.
Is there anything else from any of the rest of you? Hearing none, then we'll move on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pass on, Kylie. Kylie? Will you pass on our heartfelt thanks for a job unfortunately well done last night?
We can do that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Usually they're so. That's when I would think of you.
We got a couple minutes, commissioners. Still takes two votes.
I think I have another vote, don't I?
It's getting closer by the day.
See?
We are at,
Engage one
on our
donation.
commission work session, for this, Monday, the 18th of November. We're at 2 o'clock just after. This is a discussion on an ordinance development agreement to rezone about 9.92 acres, 0.92 acres, May 1 to C2, approximately 2139 south and 4300 west. We have Felix Liavarino. Charlie was waiting on. We have Mr. Rick Grover. And we'll go to there, commissioners. Let's go to Felix. I'm gonna give you a minute to get set up. Charlie or Rick, why don't you
Yeah,
start us?
so this is a piece of property that the planning commission reviewed. It's right next to the new high school out west. And it's kind of sandwiched in between the high school and the church and the seminary building.
Mhm.
And in our general plan, it shows commercial, and they have pickleball courts there. And they would like to get approval for this piece to be commercial for the pickleball courts. But we're recommending that we do it through a development agreement, so we kind of limit what can happen on here. When the planning commission reviewed it, they gave a favorable recommendation for it because it was in compliance with the general plan. It's about 0.92 around that
Yeah.
acres, so it's not a big piece, but it will be going from A1 to C2.
C2, because that allows the pickleball, but I like the idea of a development agreement, so we don't get something else, don't you think?
I do.
Don't you
Yeah,
think? Sharon?
yeah.
Yeah, so it kind of ties it down, and so that's kind of what the planning commission was thinking as well.
Great. But let's go ahead.
Yeah, and that covers a big part of it. I thought I could just share some visual representations to help. So here's basically the aerial image.
There's a high school there,
Yeah,
okay?
and so yeah, you might be able to see that structure in the back. Let me see if I can, okay. So that also
Yeah.
helps to see the structure.
Right.
That large structure in the back is indoor pickleball.
Hmm.
And then that house will probably be demolished at some point.
Where's the
Where-
house? I don't see the house.
Right up there, it says.
Yeah, so
That wasn't always pickleball. That
No.
was it used to be an arena. That's where old Peekaboo Street used to cut her teeth right there.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
She could ski in there?
No, what they did though, they did,
That's what I'm thinking.
they did therapeutic riding years
Oh.
ago in there.
Oh.
It's a nice building.
after her big crash, right, she needed to recoup.
Wow, it's a long time ago. That's probably 20 years ago.
Okay.
Anyway, and so what we're thinking is rezoning this entire piece to C2. And there would be also in the development agreement, some requirements for the landowner to basically make improvements to the road. And also, that front 100 foot, measuring from the center of the road, you've got about 100 feet of that frontage area that will be basically your street facing commercial. So you can see here what we've done here. This is a recommendation from the planning commission that that site be in the red hatch marks before the initial.
Because you got any problem with the entry on or off of 4300 right there? Is it, they're not asking for another access there, and does this work? I mean, you've got, if you're gonna do this right around where there's a lot of kids coming in and out of there, is this a smart thing to do?
Well, that is a good question. I mean, it looks like they do have that one access in. And right now it's just a gravel access. So, I mean, if they come in with some commercial uses, we would make sure that they've got this, asphalt paved area, and it would actually be improved from what it is today.
I'm concerned with the number of accesses along that short frontage. It's not that long, and 4300 could, in 100 years, be like a bigger road,
Yeah.
It could be a Harrison Boulevard, so I don't wanna cut off the knees for the future, but I wanna be careful about that.
Yeah, for sure.
Is the pickleball courts, have they spelled out in the development agreement, is that typically after school hours or is it during school hours?
Well, we didn't put a lot of, I guess, specifics into the pickleball use. What we primarily would be doing is anything under the C2 zone would be permitted in this area, including pickleball, sport courts. That type of retail type activity you find in C2.
You know, the pickler field that we got down below me, they're unique hours. It's amazing. You know, you see them in the afternoons and evenings, but I see them in the morning too, you know, kind of more quiet in the day.
Yeah,
But that's, you know, that's today. I don't know what tomorrow's gonna bring.
yeah. We
Would these
want
be indoor or outdoor pickleball?
indoor.
So you have it in the building. Right? That's pretty popular.
Yeah,
Very much so. And so. Yeah, I mean, looking at just kind of the neighboring uses, we can see that you have that church right to the south. High school, you also have, it's called the Single Tree Acres subdivision that was rezoned to the R115.
Where's that? On the
That's
east?
that green patch, just right next door to just to the west of the high school grounds. So that'll be developed as, you know, single family R115 lots. And we'll,
so that's that area.
yeah, that single
And
tree,
then, isn't that the institute
that's right.
or the seminary?
Yep, that's the seminary. But yeah, we'd like to have this before you at a public hearing next week if possible.
I think development agreement, I think you're right that it's gotta be. C2 is gonna allow a lot of other uses.
It will. Do we have some of the uses restricted in this, that are currently in the C2?
Not currently.
Maybe we wanna look at that.
I'd like, oops, sorry, Gage. Got him.
I'm gonna tipping over there.
Yeah. I'd like you to, I don't know, this is in your portfolio, Gage, your thoughts?
What would be in the C2 that we wouldn't want there?
I think that maybe that's something we need to go back and look at.
I guess that's what I'd like to see is,
Is there anything that's not favorable?
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, pickleball courts, who can talk bad about pickleball courts?
No,
Let me be honest.
I think you could put an IFA in the C2.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You can
and
put I mean, not that the IFA is bad, but I mean, that size of the store out there on 12th Street, you could put. You know, you can't put a super Walmart out there, but you could put a smaller type of a deal there.
yeah,
well, so to me, it comes down to traffic, parking, you know, because that doesn't leave a ton of parking.
no, it doesn't.
So I think you have, what I do is look at your parking ratios and tie your development agreement back to say, okay, whatever that use is, you've gotta have X
Yeah,
number of stalls.
There you
cause
go.
I think the parking stalls are gonna limit what uses
That's,
could
that's what I'm
have
saying.
on there.
You limit what goes there by saying you gotta have X number of stalls per square foot.
Yeah,
That's pretty smart.
maybe let's look at that, and then, do you want us to come back in a work session and then schedule it?
I'd like to just see it before you put it on the deal. Okay,
Mhm.
great.
Okay,
The commission, we'll do that.
I like that.
Yeah, but
If
you,
that's
you control what goes there by parking,
true.
so.
And that would be responsible,
That's,
because the
well,
last thing we wanna do with that road is put people out on the street
Yeah,
on
Yeah.
4300. That's a no.
yeah. Cause right now they just have that one access on there, but then you have the two accesses from the church, and then how close is the high school access to
It's
that?
right there.
And I think it's very close. If that's the one just right to the north of there.
so is the access north?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's up there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's.
So you're pretty close.
Yeah, cause when I was driving out there, there's quite a few accesses that the high school has along 43. And then you got residents on the east side of the street.
Yeah.
They're
You may
all-
wanna go put your feet on the ground out there.
I'll do that. I've been out there before. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, great, thank you.
Felix, thank you. Anything else?
That is it for me today.
Okay.
Thanks, commissioners.
You can,
The
great.
planning commission approved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm gonna ask for a motion to saunter until approximately 2:30.
So move, Mr.
Second.
Chair.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're gonna saunter till at or around 2:30.
Have fun.
That's funny. Okay, we're back.
Hey.
Looking for a motion, this is Saunter.
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Okay. I'm Commissioner Bose. What am I? Co-chair? No,
Co-chair, but
not
now you're the-
Co-chair,
Since
assistant,
we're missing the chair, yeah.
something. Anyway, yeah, Chair Harvey had to step out on a phone call, so I'll be conducting this meeting. We're on agenda item number 6, which is a discussion regarding Nordic Valley Village CRA interlocal agreement and PID transfer agreement. We have Stephanie Russell, and Lauren's here, Lauren Thomas, Ashlyn Tuckett, Brennan Brown, Brooke Cole. Others in the room. Okay, looks like Stephanie, we will go to you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. We're just providing an update on where we're at with the Nordic Valley Community Reinvestment Area and the Nordic Valley Public Infrastructure District. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Community Reinvestment Area first, so that you have an understanding of our timeline. And then we've got a couple issues we want to discuss with you relative to the PID. So right now with the CRA, we're in the phase of getting interlocal agreements from the participating districts, and that would actually include Weber County. That interlocal would be an agreement between the Weber County's Community Reinvestment Agency and.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Okay. Oh, that was weird. Weber County's Community Reinvestment Agency and Weber County itself. And that would be the participating interlocal. It's the same thing that we're doing between Weber Basin Water and the CRA, the fire district in the CRA and the school district in the CRA. So the only ones we haven't wrapped up yet are the Weber Basin Water, which we meet with them on Thursday at their meeting. And then we have a meeting with the fire district. Ashley, if you want to throw those dates out for me, that'd be great.
So we'll meet with the CRA committee for the fire district on the 2nd of December. And then on the 4th of December, this is just in chronological order. 4th of December is the school district board meeting, so we're going to that. And then on the 10th of December is the fire district board meeting.
So far, we've had commitments. We have a fairly certain commitment with the school district. We'll find out about the water district this week, and then in the first week of December, we'll find out about the fire district. So this is for you guys to look over. If you would like to get it on your agenda, you're welcome to do that. Everything's looking very favorable for this going through all the other districts. But if, in the past, you guys have wanted us to make sure we have the interlocals from all the districts before we put this one on your agenda. It's up to you. We'd like to get this one passed through this year. That way they can trigger it January 1st. And start taking the increment between 2025 and 2026.
And what, did you mention what the participation rate was?
Oh, yeah,
and
so,
the
yes, thank you, Mr. Crockett. The participation rate for all the districts is 50% at 15 years, with the exception of Weber County's participation rate at 75% at 15 years. That was part of our new policy. Because of the infrastructure lift for this particular project, we are now requiring that any participation or creation of a CRA shows us that they have significant infrastructure. And our CRA funds are now only dedicated to infrastructure, and we have that built into our interlocal agreement. And you'll see in this agreement, when you have a chance to read it, that this agreement states, and it will be moving forward with any agreement, whether it be our CRAs or CRAs that we're participating in, any tax increment finance that we negotiate will go strictly to infrastructure. Unless otherwise stated by the commission. But for this particular project, you had specifically requested that we put it towards infrastructure. So that's going to be reflected in this interlocal agreement. Thank you.
Okay,
Commissioner Farrar, any questions?
no, falls in line with our policy we've been working on over the past couple, 3 years.
Yeah, so let me know when you'd like this one on your agenda. If you want it before the other ones, that's fine. If not, we can make it so that we do it in conjunction with the other ones.
Okay.
Stephanie, do you want to speak at all to the timing of this and and the incorporation of the city up there?
Yeah,
I feel like kind of getting this groundwork laid out and creating this and helping that infrastructure move forward is kind of important and would be a benefit, I think, to the city.
This is gonna really benefit the city. So this project as a whole will benefit the city. This is a significant amount of tax base increase. What's great about the county taking the reins on this CRA is that we will be paying for that. The county will be paying for that infrastructure, not the new city residents. Because the new city will not be participating in the CRA at any point in time. All of the tax increment that's generated from this project, they will get 100% of that tax increment. It's significant. It's in the millions. It's a lot of money. Additionally, with this project, they have the opportunity to get the sales tax off of that project as well. And this is a commercial property, so they would be receiving that sales tax percentage. If down the road they're interested in applying, they could also receive the transient room tax, which this project would have a significant amount of transient room tax. So this is an opportunity for us to come in and put in the infrastructure that's going to be needed for this development project. And the county will be paying out of their tax increment. That would come out of the dollars that would normally come to us. That increment is what we're paying for that instead of the new city. The new city, as it relates to the PID and the CRA, it does not affect their taxpayers at all. In fact, they'll be receiving a significant amount of tax increment and, like I said, sales tax. So it does increase their tax base without them having to participate in a CRA, which a lot of cities create these CRAs to bring in these types of development projects, and then they have to contribute to them.
Right.
This is kind of a unique situation because we're in that transition period where the city actually gets to have the benefit of all the new public infrastructure and all the development tax increment and the development sales tax dollars. And once again, if they wanted to go after the TRT tax, that would be something that they could go after the TRT tax too, which could be a pretty big chunk of money in the long term.
Good.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Thanks for that explanation. I think it's very useful. Lauren, do you have anything to add about it?
No, do you have any other questions?
I don't think so.
Well, what we'll do,
Greg, anybody?
Ashlyn will send you guys a copy of the timeline for the CRA so that you have an idea of what meetings are coming up and as these interlocals are being passed, and then just give us some feedback on when you'd like to see this particular interlocal go onto your agenda. We just needed an agenda before December 17th. Yeah. That work, Lauren?
Brooke, Brennan, anything?
We're good, thank you.
Want to transition over to the PID really quick. So we've had to make a couple changes to the survey area, and Lauren's going to talk a little bit about our checklist and where we're at with the PID so that you guys have an understanding of what's needed and what needs to happen to actually create the PID.
Yes, so there's kind of 3 documents we're working right now. The petition, we just changed the survey area a little bit, as Stephanie said, so, and we actually just got that approved, Bridger approved that this morning, so we can go through and check off all these documents, make sure everything's set up, but the petition is the first one, the governing doc is the other, it's completely ready except for that area that needs updated. And then the infrastructure transfer agreement, that will be an interlocal between us and the PIDs, that also just needed the survey area updated on it, so those are the 3 documents. If we can get those finalized by tomorrow, we should be in good shape, probably around noon, I think is when we need those.
Where are we at?
We
Oh.
sent those around on Friday evening after we worked with Willis and the county surveyor to finalize everything. So, and I know he signed off on it this morning, as you mentioned, but those documents have all been updated, and Aaron circulated the governing document. We circulated the petition, and then Aaron circulated the interlocal as well. Those are all updated and complete.
Yes, thank you, Brendan. So I need to review them is where we're at. So it's,
Yep.
that's what I'm doing right now. Yeah.
Awesome.
So
Okay,
we just
thank
have to
you.
finish reviewing them before they can be finalized. Yeah.
Now, Lauren, you had brought up with the interlocal transfer agreement, this is the agreement that the PID will transfer certain assets that they create to the city, excuse me, to the county, to the county, not the city, to the county, once those assets are created. We had one question about water that we didn't have resolved. Is that correct?
Yes. So right now, we do not have a district who is taking the water infrastructure. We do have a signed agreement from Nordic Valley Sewer, who is hoping to become a water district. Is that my understanding, Brooke? And that they will take the water infrastructure, but as of right now, there is not technically a existing water district that is signed up, ready to take that water infrastructure. So that is a concern that we have, moving forward with the agreement. We would like to know, where this infrastructure will go in the end.
So Lauren, if I may address that, the Nordic Sewer District, their board met and by resolution included water as one of the services that they will offer and have filed that as a service that they're going to provide and accepted the water infrastructure that would be created.
Okay.
Do you have a copy of the
Yes.
resolution?
I'd be happy
Okay,
to send you a
that-
copy of that.
That'd be great.
Just need that resolution.
Yeah, okay, great.
Can get that to you both.
Okay,
Okay,
Great.
then that.
so that was my biggest concern.
Yeah, that was, yeah, okay, great.
So, I'm in the middle of reviewing these documents right now, and, we do need to. So we were going to have that infrastructure transfer agreement on, tomorrow's commission meeting, but, the timing just didn't work out. So we can put that on the agenda for the public hearing, to sign that interlocal before we pass the resolution to create the PID. And that would just be after the hearing.
So we would have to, if we could get that today, Brooke, we would be able to notice that, because we'd have to make an amendment to the agenda.
Mhm.
So is that correct?
Yes, and I
Okay.
do have it, I'm reviewing it, so
Okay,
as long as my review goes good, we can get on the agenda.
okay.
And Lauren, you have received a copy of the acceptance from Nordic Improvement District for both water and sewer?
Yes, I believe that's when you sent, yes.
Oh, okay, so she has that. Okay,
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
So-
I've already sent it.
so
Sorry, do we know, just to confirm, are they approved through the state to provide that service
That's
yet?
the- that's
That's
the
the
piece.
resolution, that's what they've started that process
Yes.
for,
Mhm.
okay,
Yeah,
So
that's the other follow-up piece that you're asking for.
yes.
great.
I understand that the lieutenant governor office has been a little busy with elections. So
As have we.
they not have got to it yet,
It'll
but
be interesting to see how it goes, because we've had questions before about how other local districts add services.
That aren't created. So I will say this, as part of the governing document for this particular public infrastructure district, we do have a clause in that document that says that they cannot go to the bond market until we have proof that all of the districts have accepted the infrastructure. And that would be through interlocal agreements.
Right.
So as it relates to this particular interlocal agreement, Lauren, if you want to go over those particular items in there that we're asking the county, that the developer's asking the county, that would be great, because they haven't seen those yet.
Yes. Sorry, let me just pull it here. Okay, so we have, the new section of approximately, Nordic Valley Way, 3,500 East, and a roundabout at the intersection of Viking Drive and 3,500 East. A roundabout at approximately 3,300 North, 3,500 East. A roundabout at approximately 330 North and Highway 162, and a regional multi-purpose trail connection from approximately Viking Drive and 3,500 East intersection to Highway 162. And I think, I can send that to you guys. I'm not sure if it's on the back of your NR.
We got that in the barn.
Is it?
Yeah, it should be. Nothing for this.
It should be exhibit B. Yeah, I'll send this to you.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is where we're at. We're at a position where we're having the public meeting on Wednesday. And we've advertised that according to all of what's required. So we're gonna move forward with that. Really, what we're asking today is for you to, based on what you've heard today, are you in a position that you would like to vote on the interlocal and vote to pass a resolution on Wednesday?
For the PID.
for the PID. We've got all the pieces, we still have a couple things that staff needs to work through.
If there are still some things that have to be worked on, we could still have the public hearing, right?
Mhm,
We-
absolutely.
And we could table it if.
You
we're not
absolutely
prepared.
could,
So.
yes.
Yeah, I think we keep the public hearing,
Keep
Okay,
the public
and
hearing.
then if there's any questions that come up with that,
Okay.
we could then go back and pass it at the regular commission
Yeah.
meeting
Yep.
the following week.
Yep, we can do that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So.
So I don't see an issue either way.
Perfect. So what we'll do, Ashley, if you can get this interlocal agreement onto the agenda and get that agenda reposted, that would be great.
Yeah,
And we'll let you guys make your decision
Yeah.
at the public meeting.
Okay,
Okay,
sounds good.
but if something happens and we're not able to complete
Sure.
all of this checklist that we have today, we'll let you know.
Yeah.
Okay,
makes good sense.
anything else?
So that's it?
Okay,
Anything else?
no, that's it.
All right,
Wonderful. Thank you.
that was
We
great.
appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Steph.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Be right back.
Oh,
Do we wanna? Commissioner Forward, do we wanna saunter? We don't have another
I know.
scheduled until 3:15.
Oh, yeah, let's motion this honor to 3:50.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
picture of my big old chest bruise.
All right. Now we're back, we're at, item number 7, which is a discussion regarding 3500 West and 12th Street. There we
There you
go,
are.
coming on.
Hey, guys. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Gary,
How are you?
okay.
You want one of these to follow along
Let's see
with
one of
stuff? We got a few extra.
We've been waiting for this for a while. Oh,
Something that I didn't. Probably enough. Ask him once.
I said Gibson born there, no.
It's okay, I was just kidding.
Go ahead and give me a hard time with it.
let's go ahead, Gary, let's get started on this. We got Bill and Portland here, no?
Yes.
I was, they down.
Oh, there he is.
The other end.
Great. Okay. Ash, Gary, Scott Park, Chris, okay, let's go ahead here.
Okay, commissioners, so the gentleman from UDOT, who is the project manager on this, is home with sick kids today. I sent him the link, the Zoom link, but he wasn't sure if he'd be able to get in there.
There's
with-
the iPhone up there.
I don't know if that's Lincoln or not, so I'm not
One
sure.
of you on the phone or Lincoln,
And if,
unmute.
There's a hand raised.
No, that's me.
is that the
Oh, it
mouse
is?
hand?
Oh.
Oh, that's- okay.
Like, leave it.
All right.
So, sorry, iPhone, there's no,
He might be in the doctor's office with sick kids. He had some sick kids.
okay, no problem. Well, let's keep going. here.
So at any rate, UDOT has hired someone to put a conceptual design together of the intersection of 3500 West and 12th Street. That's the big sheet plan that shows you what the full build out would be. We had them lay it out that way, so we have a dedicated left, through, and right turn lane on at least our two portions of the intersection, which is 3500 West.
Do we have right away on 3500?
Well, that's coming. That's coming. That's part of these costs that we've got laid out here. But I believe we do, Commissioner. I'll have to look and double check, but I think we're pretty good. So as accordingly, they put together a list, an estimate of cost that's kind of broken down here, and they've separated it into a Weaver County, West Weaver portion and a UDOT portion. Our portion is the north and the south legs that they've broken out. Their portion is the east and west. The way UDOT traditionally breaks their estimates out, there's what's called a PE cost and a CE cost. PE is the preliminary engineering or the design cost to lay everything out. CE is what's incurred during construction costs. UDOT has rules and regulations they have to follow when it comes to the construction that are in relation to the materials of how they're placed, different standards of testing than what we do. We still follow our own standards, but theirs are a little bit more robust and strict than what we do. They also have other federal rules and regulations that they have to follow that add in incidental costs through the design and through the construction process. So essentially what I'm getting at, they've accounted for all of that. That breaks down Weber County's portion for this intersection redesign into a total of about just over $1.2 million. Now, I know that's a big number, and I want to give you some other things to think about. In this estimate of cost here, they have in here an actual line item cost for the signal for Union Pacific's signal and reconstruction of the equipment for the track signal. That is $800,000, and UDOT will be covering that cost, that portion of the project. Additionally, there's other permits and processes that you have to follow when you're working with Union Pacific that will be, a lot of them covered by the project. But in the end, it does boil down to a cost share for the county to the tune of just over $1.2 million on this one. So I'm here bringing this up for you guys to consider, showing you kind of a rough footprint of what the roadway improvements will be. And we have the option to have them dial back what the expansion of the north and south legs would be, meaning we could combine some of the lanes, say right now, currently, the through and the left turn lanes are combined on the south leg with a dedicated right turn, as you're heading north to the tracks. The north legs, as you're heading south to the tracks, pretty much all bottlenecks down to one lane, so it's a combined left, through, and right turn on the north. There is a little bit of shoulder, but it is, what this build out is significantly better than what the conditions are that are represented out in the field as we speak right now.
Sorry, Gary, look. Is this upside down? Because the way you just described it.
I think it's a little offset of the image, the way that.
Well, you said when you're northbound, that there's a shared
Yes, so
left and
through.
through. It doesn't look like it.
Well, if you look here, Commissioner Bolos,
Thank you.
there, you can see a little radius pocket off to the right. That's kind of the right turn pocket that exists on
Right.
that south leg
Right here.
This is coming north.
coming north.
But this is not shared. That's a through, that's a left.
Well, it's a Y right here, you see it. Well, I guess you can't see it.
Yeah, there's a little median right there, Commissioner, right there. That's where they separate. See where that little area where you
This?
can, yep. So right here is where the right turn pocket is
Built
kind of
here?
built in, and then this piece right here is what is left for the either
Okay, So
straight
let's
north or
look at
left.
this Through, and there's a left. they
This
merge
is
together?
actually the southbound lane right here.
What's this with the left turn arrow?
The black left turn
Mhm.
arrow,
Yeah.
that's the design. That, the design is the proposed left turn arrow.
I thought you were talking about. No wonder I'm confused. Sorry.
That's okay.
Let me-
Great question, and sometimes,
Gary, I'm
when-
looking at it.
I know,
Okay,
so
sorry.
sometimes when you overlay the design against the existing, it does get a little
Okay,
confusing.
keep going.
So, anyway, I guess where we're at, we could have them combine some of those lanes.
Save us much money.
But in the future, if we ever need to widen them to what this is, we're gonna have to go back and pay all the Union Pacific costs, including moving the gates, moving the lights, dealing with preemption, as well as adding the panels inside the tracks that need to be widened as well.
If you can't do it right the first time, when are you gonna have to find the money to do it the second?
Correct. Not to mention costs exponentially increase from year to year, the more you wait on this. So I guess what I'm basically
So this
getting,
comes out of those funds from doesn't it come out of the Fund One or the
Prop one?
Prop One funds?
It's gonna have to, because we have no other way to fund it, like, this would be more than the impact fees that we have available, and,
And it's
Yeah.
legal, I mean, that's under the permitted use, it's a
I
multi,
mean, 12th Street is a Prop 1 fund, 3500 West is Prop 1, so I
Yeah.
would say that's the appropriate source to use.
yeah.
And
makes
we have
sense.
plenty in there.
We do, this would take up a full year's revenue.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if it's high enough, and we do have enough in the fund balance, so we can continue with the projects that we've already got planned, we just wanna make sure next year in the budget to watch that, to make sure we're not.
and the challenge we're seeing, commissioners, with the rates and the pace at which subdivisions are coming in, traffic at this intersection is only gonna get worse. We've got quite a few subdivisions in close proximity that feed into this particular intersection already. So, yeah, with that, I'm just looking for your agreeance to move forward using Prop One funds to cover our portion of the match on this.
When would the project start?
Great question, Scott. Things have come a long ways from where we were a couple of years ago with Union Pacific. It was a much more challenging position to be in a few years ago. There's been some agreements take place, between Union Pacific and UDOT to make the position much easier. We're probably 6 to 10 months away from final design. What you see here is a 30% level design, just to come up with some estimates. As we start to whittle this down, what's on here labeled as the 25% contingency will start to whittle down and disappear, and we'll start to hone our costs in just a little bit more. We will still keep the 10% contingency line item for construction, because you just never know what you're gonna find once you actually start into that. But yeah, probably 6 to 10 months away before an advertising package could hit the street for contractors to bid on.
So we actually don't need to add this to the budget until 2026 then.
Could it be Q4 next year?
Probably Q4, and I'm not sure how quickly they're gonna want compensation ahead of time, Scott, or throughout the process or at the end too.
Is this for, I mean, this is for the construction and the design, right? Or is this just the, yeah?
Yeah, all of the
So,
above.
so they'll
correct.
bill us a little bit for the design or our share for the design, right? Along
Yeah.
the way, but,
Yeah,
okay, I'm just trying to figure out the timing of it. So
yep,
2025 would be the soonest we would pay anything for design, and then maybe at the end of 2025 or 2026 before we're paying for construction dollars.
correct. Correct. Any questions you might have for me in regards to the design on this intersection right here?
Did you get him to do the bridge?
This does not include the bridge. This is not the bridge, unfortunately.
Well, then tell him to go back to the drawing board and come back to us when they can get the bridge in there.
Now, which bridge are you referring to?
I'm
Commissioner?
talking about the bridge on 12th Street, just east of here. Why do,
Oh, different project. Different project. You're talking about where 12th Street's being widened.
yeah,
That's a completely independent, separate project than this project.
so this isn't part of the 12th Street project?
There's coordination between the two teams, believe it or not. But no, they're gonna happen at the same time, Commissioner. And so hopefully it's seamless and it's viewed as seamless, but.
Well, I don't understand that. This is on 12th Street.
Uh-huh,
This is on 12th Street that'll be widened.
correct?
Why are they two separate projects?
Because this project actually triggered before the 12th Street widening project did. It just got put on hold due to difficulties and negotiations with the railroad on this.
Mhm.
Then, a few years after this signal warrant study was done and this project triggered, then the widening project of 12th Street that you're referring to, I believe, from 47th back to the east, that happened. And
Okay,
I'm not sure as to who made the decision or how that came to be as to where it stopped, Commissioner. But correct, it still is not doing that bridge over the river right there.
well, I expect, so that raises a concern. Sometimes UDOT doesn't talk to each other on projects.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make sure they're talking to each other,
Yeah,
because I can see where would this project come before that? Or not? Which comes first, the chicken or the egg here?
that's a great question, Commissioner, for,
Three different pots of money.
yeah, they did.
There was the intersections was one pot of money, the widening was another, and then the bridge was a third.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, what I'm worried about is that we go ahead and trigger this on our side. And then now that it's a separate project, that comes through and find out that they've got to change or modify or do away with this. So I just want to make sure they're coordinated.
I do know we had a diagnostic meeting out here
Okay,
3 months ago or so, back in August. And designers for both this project that I'm coming to you for, this particular signalized intersection, as well as the full widening project, were present at that meeting. So I do know the teams are talking and.
were they awake?
You know,
They were standing and breathing.
we might wanna just get with Rob and just get with
Yeah.
Rob again
Yeah.
and just today, just say, our concern is we wanna make
Yeah.
sure that the two are coordinated
Yeah.
together.
That's right.
No.
That's right. Great question,
Yes.
Commissioner Farrar.
I've seen it happen before and I don't want to be taking the short end of the.
And
stick
say
on that.
thank you, and
Yeah.
we understand that you've taken care of the bridge, thank you.
Yeah, and tell them, you know, that'll be a lot cheaper than redoing Ogden Canyon.
Yeah,
We'll do Ogden Canyon after the bridge.
well, I'll mention that to them. So, yeah, no, good question, Commissioner
No.
Farrar. Thank you for asking that. I wasn't sure if you were talking to this bridge, talking about
I
that
was
bridge.
talking about the bridge,
Yeah,
the bridge.
well, yeah,
Anyway,
good question.
Okay,
I knew what you're gonna tell me, but
Yeah.
all right, anything else? Commissioner Bolos?
No.
All right, Gary, what other clarification do you need for this?
Just as long as we have your permission to move forward and Scott's comfortable with us tapping into that budget money.
Commissioners, oh, sorry.
I think philosophically, this group doesn't wanna see us to go down this much, to add this much expense later on. So-
Exactly.
Whatever you've presented or whatever, I think that'd be the better way to go. Okay, so Scott, go ahead.
I was gonna say, we have a budget meeting scheduled a week from today to go over adjustments from the tentative to the final. I'll include this on there. I'll get with you to figure out what we think the design amount will be. I'll just budget the whole design in 2025 and the construction in 2026. But I'll have that as an item for Monday.
I will reach out with the project manager and meet with him individually, and we'll get a contract set up that kind of identifies our participating costs and what UDOT's costs will be on that as well too. And I'll bring that before you for your signatures, so.
Gary, if you make this writing a little smaller, you might be able to get approval for something that we can't read. Just letting you know for the future.
Is that advice? I'll take that as
Let you
advice,
know.
Commissioner Bellis.
You'd have to take your word for it.
Yeah, that did get kind of small, didn't it, Commissioner Bellis? I apologize about that. So.
Any WFRC money could go on to this?
I would imagine they probably tap
like
into that if it's available. at this
I'd
point.
I'd like
I'll
to
ask
see
the
us
question.
ask for
That's a
some
good thought.
WFRC money, cause that's, we're paying the lion's share. I'd like to see WFRC chip in
Okay.
500,
I can certainly ask.
and that's not dollars, that's thousands of, at least $500,000. It's a major collector artery, whatever, both sides, it'd be good.
Yeah.
And this is traffic signal too, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, this would be a full.
Yeah, it'd be
full
great.
signal.
Ben Wolfrich. Let's get a hold of Ben, let's go.
I'll reach out to him and see.
Thank you.
Gary, can I ask a dumb question really quick? So with the railroad tracks there, are they gonna have a signal before the tracks and then a signal at the intersection like they do, let's say off the viaduct on 24th Street, or whatever that road is?
Usually what they'll do, Scott, is they'll set up what's called a preemption sensor on the tracks. So as train tracks are coming, it will trigger the lights and gates to close. They'll probably add in center medians or islands, raised islands, so that when the gates are closed, vehicles cannot go around the gates and then squirt back in. So I don't believe there will be an actual traffic signal ahead of this, but you will have flashing lights and gates and bars that close at this crossing when the trains trigger it. They'll also work that in so that it has something for emergency management vehicles to try to work with that as well too. So.
That one at 24th is really wonky.
Yeah, I've been there several times, you got the train coming, the lights turns red, but
Just so you know, you have a lot of time.
Yeah.
To run the red.
You've heard?
I've heard.
You've heard?
Yeah, heard.
Okay, awesome. All
Thank
right.
you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate your guys' time.
Ma'am, remind him to thank him for the bridge.
Yeah, I will.
Oh,
I'll think I'm ahead
just
of
say,
time.
we heard that you funded that bridge, thank you, and then they're gonna, what?
It's the right thing to do, Gary.
Hey, while you're at it, while
That's
you're having
fine.
that conversation, will you remind them that they didn't put in
Our
bike
next week,
lanes
our
on
next
the
week session.
Yeah.
Whiting,
That's
the
the
road
closed
expansion
session.
project?
We have reminded them
And then I'm
multiple
literally
times.
having to apply for grant funding to do that.
Charlie and I've had a few calls with them about that actually already on this.
Wanna
session. This next piece here is a closed session to discuss the purchase, exchange, or lease of real property. I'll entertain a motion to go to closed session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. We'll now go to closed session. Following our closed session, we'll come out and then end the meeting.
I'm sure he did, but.
We're adjourned. Thank you.
Sure, you know, with him. Way to go, Portland.